to address emerging global health threats. Nigeria's Oladile Kekere becomes first blind African athlete to participate in 2024 World Sambo Championships in Astana. Do join us shortly for more news. Many thanks for joining us. I am Joshua Murakinyo. We begin the news tonight with a trending report that former President Donald Trump has won the U.S. presidential election, defeating Kamala Harris in a stunning political comeback that has sent shock waves across the world. The polarizing Republican's victory was more remarkable given an unprecedented criminal conviction, a near-miss assassination attempt, and warnings from a former chief of staff that he is a fascist. Adekola Hastrop tells us more about Donald Trump's victory at the presidential election.
After a long, bruising presidential campaign that saw the polarizing Republican candidate ride out 2 assassination beats and a criminal conviction, Donald Trump has won the U.S. presidential election, defeating Democrat Kamala Harris to complete a stunning political comeback as the victory returns him to the White House.
Frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond.
Although final votes are still being counted, the majority of Americans in key battleground states choose to vote for Trump, with many citing the economy and immigration as a chief concern. The victory makes him the first United States president in more than a century to win a non-consecutive second term.
Unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people.
Vice President Harris, who only entered the race in July after President Joe Biden dropped out, ran a centrist campaign that highlighted Trump's inflammatory messaging and use of openly racist and sexist tropes. As the poll rejection starts from the U.S. presidential elections, Harris' campaign co-chair Cedric Rich-Amon has confirmed that the vice president and Democrat candidate will no longer address her supporters and the nation tonight, but is expected to speak tomorrow.
We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken. So you won't hear from the vice president tonight.
World leaders have raced to extend their heartfelt congratulations to President Donald Trump on his re-election as the 47th President of the United States of America, describing the victory as a reflection of the trust and confidence the American people have placed in his leadership, while congratulating them on their commitment to democracy. Already 78, Trump is on course to break another record as the oldest ever sitting president during his 4-year term, who will surpass Joe Biden, who is set to step down in January at the age of 82.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Adekola Hastrop, LTV News.
Thank you, Adekola Hastrop. Now joining us is a public affairs analyst and a journalist as well, a senior one at that, Mr. Adewale Adeoye, to look at these happenings, of course, this development in the United States and how it affects the world. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the news tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I will ask the obvious question. Did this victory come to you as a surprise, or you felt that this is coming considering that, look, Kamala Harris joined the race late in the day, not helped by the activity of his boss or the president, Joe Biden, or better still, is it because Donald Trump is good at this game because he's fighting two female candidates in 2016 and in 2024?
Well, I think first of all, it didn't come to me as a surprise because in the build up to the election, it was obvious that it was going to be a tight race, that any one of them could have emerged as the president of the United States. And if you also look at the fact that President Trump is experienced in the game, will be contesting for the second time, and also the fact that if you look at what is going on all over the world, you know, the growth of nationalism, you know, in Europe, in America, even in Africa. So there is a resentment against immigrants. It's not just in the US, it's also in Europe. And in the global scrambling for diminishing resources all over the world, most governments are playing emphasis on the interest of indigenous people. So I think I knew that for Trump to have placed two major issues in the front burner, immigration and economy, I knew that those were very fundamental issues, you know, in the race. And we should not also forget that when Trump was talking about immigration, you know, black people who are black Americans, you know, they also felt concerned that their jobs are being taken by people from Africa, from Asia. And also Latinos who have been in the US for generations, they also felt that massive immigration of new immigrants from Mexico, from Latin America, from Cuba, you know, constituted a threat to them. So even though they were immigrants, they also felt that getting more immigrants into the United States, you know, was a threat for them. So they felt Trump at that point, you know, was the right choice. And when you are talking about immigrants that had no valid papers, you know, which may want to support Harris, the fact of the matter is that they were not qualified to vote.
Yeah.
You know, so on that level, when Harris was campaigning about immigrants, only those that are in the US without legitimate papers would support Harris. But unfortunately, they were not in a position to vote. And I also felt that Harris overemphasized, you know, placing more emphasis on Trump as a person, you know, attacking him. And people already knew who Trump was, or the kind of person he is. So it's not new. People are expecting her to speak more on what actually she wanted to offer in terms of the economy. And I think she was not able to successfully distinguish herself from President Biden, whose rating had fallen to about 40%, you know, in the past 4 years. So I think if you look at those factors, it was obvious that Trump was focused, irrespective of the criminal charges against him, and attempts to assassinate him. You know, all the campaigns he waged, he was just talking about immigration, economy. And I think that, you know, sounded very good, you know, to a lot of voters in the US.
What is interesting is that the last time Donald Trump contested against, in 2016, against Hillary Clinton, he lost out in the majority vote. In this particular election, Donald Trump got 71,836 plus, while Kamala had 66 million. He did not only win by a landslide in terms of over 5 million votes, but he also got the Electoral College, which gives him, of course, this. How do you explain the politics of the United States, where you have someone who has been convicted, due to be sentenced later in the month, and who got some kind of immunity? We had the backlog of January 6th there. How do you explain how the minds, perhaps, I know you're not a psychologist, but how do you explain the politics of the United States?
You see, politics is about interest. And democracy was defined as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It did not qualify the people, whether it's a convicted person or whether it's a criminal. It said the people, for the people. So it means that democracy does not isolate the possibility of voting for somebody who has criminal records, but provided that is the kind of person that the people want. So in terms of what we have seen, is an overwhelming victory for President Trump, that irrespective of the charges against him, irrespective of what people are saying about him that is similar to Hitler and all that, the people already made up their mind that, look, in terms of their interest, in terms of what they think is best for them, in terms of their fears and aspirations, that as voters, this is a candidate that we feel is far better, for us in the United States.
During the first time of President Donald Trump, he literally tumbled everything diplomacy as far as what geopolitics is concerned, from his threat that, look, we're going to withdraw from NATO because member states are not contributing enough, to the fact that I say Africa is a shithole and the Africans should really go back, they're a bunch of beggars, to the fact that, look, he say if you're not here, you go back. The DACA Act, the access pathway to citizenship was cut short. Border was supposed to be built. Donald Trump is known to topple, just ruffle the feathers of so many people. How will his emergence affect world politics? Remember, even in the White House, there was so many hands, so many changing of guards in so many positions. How will his position as the next 47th president of the United States affect world politics? Before I bring it home to Nigeria.
Well, in the first place, President Donald Trump was addressing American voters, not Nigerian voters, not African voters. There are just very few of them who are going to vote in the US. So as far as he was concerned, what mattered to him was his audience. The Americans were the ones that were going to vote. So he was telling them what will resonate to them, what will make sense to them. He was speaking to American voters. So when he was talking about Africa's shithole and all that, talking about something that seems to us, very insultive, but for
he's
the
appealing to his
American,
base.
he was evoking sentiments. He was speaking to his audience what they actually wanted to hear. And if you look at what is going on in Europe, for the African American, I mean, what is our business in spending so much billions in Ukraine? In contributing almost higher percentage of funds for military in NATO. Why can't we invest this money at home to improve the economy, to tackle the problem of inflation, problem of housing, food, health, and security? So, and that's why for a lot of European leaders, this is bad news for Trump emerging as president. But for the average American, this is good news for them. So they are saying that, look, why must invest so much billions, between in the war between Ukraine and Russia?
The final question, I was told that we need to go. He cut so many aids to African countries during his first time. How will this affect Nigeria? Our relations, and how do you think Nigeria can benefit from his kind of politics?
Well, he is going to cut more aids to Africa, and it's a challenge to us that we should look back home. We should look, we should stop acting as beggars, go from one country to the other, and hoping that our future depends on handouts, from the West. It's time for us to be more creative. So I think that's some positive aspect. China, Russia, they were backward nations, but they grew up, by looking home, by looking at their own resources, tapping those resources to ensure that they emerge as, great players in global politics. So we need to realize that our future depends on our creative mind, on our ability to tap our own resources, and not to keep on depending on handouts from the West.
I want to say a very big thank you to you for joining us tonight to analyze what has just happened in the United States with the presidential election. Thank you very much, Mr. Adewale Adeoye, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on in the news, environmental hygiene, research, advocacy, collaborations are some of the building blocks for health security in the country. This is according to speakers at the 10th African Conference on One Health and Biosecurity, with the theme From Ebola to COVID-19 and Beyond, Strengthening Africa's Capacity to Address Emerging Global Health Security Threats. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says his government's commitment to health security is unwavering in Lagos. Our correspondent Olubukola Akinkolosho has more.
Over the past decade, Africa has faced several public health challenges, from the devastating Ebola outbreak to COVID-19 pandemic. These crises have highlighted the vulnerabilities in the health system, but have also underscored Africa's resilience and potentials to overcome global health challenges. The 10th African Conference on One Health and Biosecurity is a platform for addressing the challenges with the aim to assess Africa's progress in handling health security threats and to explore strategies for building more resilient, responsive and collaborative health system. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is represented by his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Amzat, says the outbreaks of Ebola and COVID-19 have tested the tenacity, exposed weakness in the healthcare system, and highlighted the urgent need for collective action.
In Lagos, we are actively working to strengthen our biosecurity frameworks, enhance our disease surveillance systems, and build a workforce that is prepared for the realities of the post-COVID-19 world. We are also committed to advancing local research, developing indigenous technology, and supporting domestic production of vaccines and medical supplies. We envision an Africa that is self-reliant, resilient, and a leader in global health.
The sessions with the topic Health System Strengthening, Strategy and Policy, Role of Government. Commissioner for Health and his counterpart in the Ministry of Environment say integrated biosecurity and One Health is a way of life which must be embraced by all, and both ministries are taking steps to regenerate the environment for the benefit of all.
The reason we're here is to bolster our Operation BioShield. What we used to deploy the protection against COVID, we meet every year to think about new things, to think about partnerships and collaboration, so that we can continue to build what we call the Lagos State Biosecurity Roadmap.
If we allow this to continue, when people take waste and effluent and put them into a system that will now move and go and cause something else, it becomes a challenge for the healthcare system. And we found that out this year when we had the cholera outbreak. Thankfully, the two ministries had to collaborate effectively by deploying LASEPA, deploying Water Corporation, deploying LASWAMO, and then deploying LOMA to help mitigate the effects.
The Ebola and COVID-19 may have shown the vulnerabilities of the healthcare system. However, the National Assembly is prioritizing funding for the sector and also addressing the socioeconomic factors which is a resistance against pandemic.
The House is committed to leading the change in this regard by reinforcing our health infrastructure, including enhancing laboratory capacity to detect new pathogens and expanding access to affordable treatment and vaccines, among others.
Obviously, the lessons learned from the threat of the pandemic are now being channeled into proactive measures to show the preparedness and response capabilities of the Lagos State government for future health emergencies. Olubukola Akin Kolusho, LTV News.
Wife of the Lagos State Governor, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, has tasked traders on improving waste management and hygiene in markets. Dr. Sanwo-Olu stated this at a seminar on market sanitation and security held at Sabo Ultra Modern Market, Yaba. Magujosu reports.
Waste surrounding marketplaces continue to expose traders and buyers to various health hazards. It is against this backdrop that wife of the Lagos State Governor and Chairman, Committee of Wives of Lagos State Officials, Council, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, is at Sabo Ultra Modern Market, Yaba, with top government officials to engage and sensitize traders on proper hygiene and sanitation in the market.
While evaluating the impact of this seminar in the past 5 years, it is quite noticeable that there have been significant changes in the cleanliness adopted within and around our markets as proper waste disposal methods are being adopted. Regular sanitation is taking place, security and safety measures are deepened, and all these have resulted in the decrease in cases of fire outbreaks in our markets. We need to recognize all the effort that the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy Affairs and Rural Development, and the Committee of Wives of Lagos State Officials have put together over the years. You can see this thing started in 2020, and we're in 2024. We have done series of this lecture. We have seen improvements in our markets, in our marketplaces. You've seen the security, but we still have a lot to do.
This idea has helped Lagos, has helped the market in Lagos specifically. Because when you look at the population that we have in Lagos, you agree with me that the issue of cleanliness, the issue of sanitation must be made paramount, and that is what we are doing.
Dr. Sanwo-Olu also seeks marketer support in complementing government efforts in achieving a healthier Lagos.
It is important that we have a good relationship with our police officers. And she mentioned something about the community policing in every area, and I'm sure they work hand in hand with the CDA and CDC and also the market to ensure the safety of lives and property in the community.
It's the event, which had in attendance market leaders, royal fathers from Lagos Central Senatorial District, officials of Lagos State Waste Management Agency, Ministry of Health, Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, the Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Drug and Law Enforcement Agency, and Environmental Health Association of Nigeria also included art competition for primary and secondary school students. Maogbe Josu, LTV News.
Still ahead. President Bola Tinubu postponed Executive Council meeting over death of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. That's in a moment. Just stay with us. Welcome back. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered the rescheduling of the Federal Executive Council meeting till another date to be announced. Initially scheduled for today, the council meeting was postponed in honor of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, the Chief of Army Staff, who passed away on Tuesday night. General Lagbaja served as the Chief of Army Staff from June 19th, 2023 till his death on November 5, 2024. In a statement from the Office of the Special Advisor to the President, Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu also ordered flags to be flown at half-mast nationwide for 7 days in honor of the departed Nigerian general. Earlier today, President Tinubu expressed his heartfelt condolences to the Lagbaja family and the Nigerian Armed Forces. He wished Lieutenant General Lagbaja eternal peace and honored his significant contributions to the nation. Meanwhile, the acting Chief of Army Staff, Oluremi Oluyede, says Nigerians should celebrate the life and times of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. Instead, the late Chief of Army Staff was a fine soldier that sacrificed all to defend the country against external threats. The acting Chief of Army Staff spoke with the State House media after he briefed President Tinubu on recent happenings in the army following the death of the Chief of Army Staff.
You know, the country as a whole, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, did the very best for him to be alive with us today. But you know, as we all know, you know, we all belong to God, and you know, it takes, I said, when it feels necessary for him to do so. So it's on a very somber note that I'm talking this moment, because the entire Nigerian army is actually in a very sorrowful mood, having lost our leader, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja.
The death of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja prompted the president to postpone the scheduled Federal Executive Council meeting, and the ministers observed a moment of silence in honor of the army chief.
He was a gallant officer, very, very hardworking. He was indeed a warrior. He has served in so many theaters and have done commendably well. It's a very sad loss for the country. We pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to receive him.
We can say is to God to bless the family, and we assure Nigerians that we'll continue praying for the demise of Lagbaja, and we sending our condolences to the family of the deceased and Mr. President, because it's a great loss to this nation.
Our President Tinubu has also sent his condolence to the family of the late General Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. And now the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has paid a condolence visit to the family of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja. The First Lady, who was accompanied by the wife of the Vice President, Haja Nana Shetima, and the wife of the National Security Advisor, Haja Ribadu, was received by the wife of the Chief of Defense Staff, Ogogo Musa, prayed for the family. While comforting the wife, Maria Abiodun Lagbaja, and the children, Senator Oluremi Tinubu noted that the Lord only can determine when a man dies. She urged them to be comforted by the good life and legacies he left behind. She urged the children to remain focused and pursue the ideals their father lived for. The late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, died after a period of illness at the age of 56. And away from the death of the former Chief of Army Staff, the Controller of Immigration Service, Lagos State Command, David Adebambo, has appealed to parents and guardians not to subject youth to victims of illegal migration, saying there is anti-migration law across the globe. Adebambo disclosed this at a seminar on anti-smuggling of migrants week, themed Say No to Smuggling of Migrants. Maogujusu reports.
Saddled with the responsibility of protecting the country's border, the Nigerian Immigration Service says the force is committed to curb illegal activity of smuggling migrants through water, air, and land. As part of efforts to stop the illegal act, the service organized a seminar on anti-smuggling of migrants week aimed at interfacing with survivors.
There is anti-migration laws all over the world now. So I want to appeal to them that please do not subject your children to unnecessary pressure. Because here in Nigeria, there are opportunities. This sensitization program that we're having today is one of those things we go to as much as getting down to the schools to talk to the young ones, to talk to students.
Everybody is involved in this fight to curb out illegal, we call it now irregular migration. It is not, the NIS alone cannot do it. And the Controller General of Nigerian Immigration Service is in the forefront. She frowns at irregular migration, and she has been very, very supportive of the Migration Directorate. That's why she gave the go-ahead nod for this sensitization exercise.
The Immigration Service Controller, Lagos State Command, David Adebambo, therefore urged citizens to embrace various opportunities in the country rather than being vulnerable to illegal acts.
Look at the recycling business. Our people can get engaged in this. Farming, let's go back to the land. Let's farm. You recall early this year how much they were selling pepper So go and do vegetable farm and do a whole lot of things, and it will be better off instead of risking your life.
Most times when we receive or when we get those information that there are some people that are returning, people that they want to repatriate from those from the destination countries, sometimes we may be short of personnel that want to use to receive those people. So through this meeting, I've been able to establish the fact that the communication gap has been closed.
Themed Saying No to Smuggling of Migrants, the service assures of better policies in improving the country's border. Maugbe Josu, LTV News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching Lagos Television News at 8. Coming up. The importance of clean energy. That's a business news. To join us again.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has promised to support the Ebile Oil and Gas Corporation in achieving a clean energy. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made the pledge when the chairman Olalere Odushote and members of the governing council of the corporation paid a visit to him at the Lagos House in Ikeja.
Ebile Oil and Gas has gone from zero revenue in 2018 to 16.6 billion in revenues last year, and is on track to earn 24 billion by the end of this year. So that's a cumulative average growth rate of about 56%. Ebile Oil and Gas was intended to be Lagos State's answer to the federal government in terms of harnessing our oil and gas or our energy resources in Lagos State to make a difference to Lagosians.
Giving details of the corporation's activities, Chairman Olalere Odushote reveals future plans in improving the sector.
What we're doing next is now moving into the areas that actually affect Lagos. We're talking about creating clean air. We're pioneering the conversion of 600 vehicles mostly from Lagos State to stop running from PMS to CNG, and we've already got those arrangements in place. We're currently partnering with MDGIF to get funds of about 18 billion out of a 40 billion total capital investment for the development of our gas transportation business.
There's a lot of conversation, countrywide around, energy efficiency, energy transition, CNG being one of the, quick energy mix and, new ways of also, achieving plan to reduce, climate change and greenhouse emissions and the rest of it.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu also stresses the need for advocacy and safe environment around compressed natural gas.
Compressed natural gas is also, highly inflammable, and, I've not seen a lot of advocacy. I've not seen a lot of communication, everywhere, on how best people need to be careful and be responsive, and show a lot of responsibility and ensuring that they work within the highest safety environment.
Ebile Oil and Gas, which started in 2015, now has over 15 stations across the state, creating retail fuel businesses and expanding into gas.
I wish you the best of luck, and God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
A revolution in the oil service industry is what indigenous oil services company Bell Oil and Gas is offering to the Nigerian market. With this $100 million integrated pipe threading, valve assembly and composite pipes manufacturing facility at the Lekki Free Trade Zone in Ibeju-Lekki, Lagos. Chief Executive Officer of Bell Oil and Gas, Dr. Kayode Thomas, says the company's growth in 22 years and the Nigerian local content out of 2010 has prepared it for this historic moment. He explains that piping and threading are critical components in the oil and gas industry, especially with the emergence of major projects like the Dangote Refinery, Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline, and the Nigeria-Morocco pipeline.
These are very essential commodities within the oil and gas industry. But more importantly, when you look at valves, a valve is a commodity that is used even outside the oil and gas industry. We've been doing valves and supplying valves for many, many years. What we're now doing is bringing local content to play by producing what had hitherto been subject of importation into Nigeria.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board commend Bell Oil and Gas for its contribution to the growth of local competence and capacity in the Nigerian oil and gas sector. They express optimism about the facility's potential impact on the Lagos economy and the country as a whole.
The establishment of this plant here in the Lekki Free Zone exemplifies the transformative vision we have for Lagos as a center for innovation, advanced manufacturing, and international business. This facility is proof of the unwavering commitment of Bell Oil and Gas to building an industry that is powered by Nigerian talent.
This project is, the Bell Oil and Gas has positioned itself very well to meet the demand, reducing the dependence on imported materials, services, and ensuring that we retain the economy benefits within our nation.
This is phase one, and if you look around you, you'll see that even where we've got all the marquee, etc., is big, massive land. That's not for marquees. This space is for future expansion. And that means that we are thinking long term. We are thinking that as we expand capacity, we're going to create more value, we're going to create more employment, we're going to grow, and hopefully we'll be able to inspire other Nigerian companies to believe more in the country and in Nigeria as a whole.
With this oil country tubular goods pipe trading plant with a capacity of 50,000 metrics per year in the Lekki Free Trade Zone, Bell Oil and Gas is optimistic that this facility will reinforce it as a leading indigenous oil services company focused on local content capacity. From the Bejuleki area of Lagos State, I am Omowumi Okewo reporting for LTV News.
Nigeria is poised to make history as the first African country to present a blind athlete at the 2024 World Sambo Championship in Astana, Kazakhstan. For the first time, blind Sambo has been included in the championships, and Nigeria will be represented by Oladele Kekere, an orange belt judoka from Lagos State. Kekere, who began his journey in combat sports 4 years ago, will compete in the men's SVI1 class for totally blind athletes, joining his counterparts from around the world. Kekere, who competes in the men's 64 kg category, is part of the Nigeria team that departed the country to fly the green-white-green flag in Astana. An excited Kekere described the opportunity as a dream come true, expressing confidence on his chances to win medal and make Nigeria proud at the World Championship.
This has shown that, yes, we have enough talent within us, and special thanks to even our chairman for giving us the grace and with the belief that he has in us to, to showcase what's what we know how to do best.
World Beach Champion and African Champions medalist Charity Jatau and James Chegwam, who won silver at the African Games, are the other athletes that will represent Nigeria in the main event, while Olubenga Adekonsi is the coach.
100% ready. We've been training for the past 3 months now, and we have been preparing very hard for the sport to grow in Nigeria, and we are planning that toward the next National Sport Festival, we are going to do demonstration so that the sport everybody can know about the sport in Nigeria.
We want Nigeria and the ministry to look at it because we've been bringing results from all African Games till now. We've been bringing results, so we believe that Nigeria should, the ministry should try and look into it so that they can support, so that the sport will grow more.
We have been doing judo for long. We have not gotten this opportunity from judo, but Sambo came in all the way since from all African Games. Sambo have been taken out to international, and by his grace, Sambo should expect more good performance from us.
President, Sambo Association of Nigeria, Lovett Howell, expressed optimism that Nigeria will return with medals. She charged government and corporate organizations to support the association's effort to develop the sport and give athletes opportunity to compete at the global stage.
At least we're supposed to go with more than 3 athletes, but we cannot do it by ourselves. We need more help. Well, they train very hard. They are hard-working athletes, and we know they will deliver, and we will make the country proud coming back.
Vice President of the association, Sheriff Ahmed, described the country's participation at the World Championship as another chance for Nigeria to demonstrate its potential in the sport, while hoping that the country will record more success in Astana.
This is actually the second World Championship we are attending this year, and it's a huge investment, and it's a lot of commitment that have been put to it as a way for us to sport development in Nigeria. It's a huge one, and it's a good one for us. Our expectation is nothing less than coming back with gold medal as always.
The World Sambo Championship will hold from November 8 to 10 at the Martial Art Palace in Astana. Athletes from 80 countries will vie for 31 medals over the 3-day tournament.
Traditionally, we dey talk, all you women, you go kneel down.
Nigeria's entertainment industry in the 40s to 80s rested solely on theatre. However, with the advent of cinemas, this important display of culture is gradually fading. Not to let it decline, the Lagos State government is taking a bold step in collaboration with great thespians in the Nigerian movie industry to resuscitate this profession and act of entertainment. This press briefing by ace movie producer and creative director of Terra Culture, Bolanle Austin Peters, and the Lagos State government is to announce the commencement of the Lagos State International Theatre Festival, an avenue to reflect lifestyle, create jobs, skills, and as well change lives.
The arts allows you to be able to be articulate. You can speak anywhere, confidently, in front of anybody. That is the power of stage. It teaches you the power of looking good, packaging yourself, presenting yourself in a formidable manner so that people will listen to you when you want to talk. That is the power of stage. The power of stage is in that it teaches us about life, and I think that a community. We need somebody to hold us together. That is what has happened in fashion, in film, in music, in food. We were the ones left, and we said no. We're probably the only ones that create the most entertainment for people at Christmas and Easter.
Veteran actor and fellow thespian Bimbo Manuel, who acknowledged that theatre and performing arts were once vibrant and active, is seeking more support from all key players.
Theatre died in Lagos. It can still die if we do not deliberately commit to the things that will keep it alive in terms of policy, in terms of active support, as you are giving the Lagos International Theatre Festival now.
We need an international theatre festival. All I want to urge you all is to try and give us the necessary support, be part of this. Let's make it happen. Let's make it epical. Let's let the world know that Nigeria can only be rescued, first and foremost, by the creative arts.
Recognizing their roles in bringing happiness to families through their practices, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu assured the practitioners of government intervention in resuscitating theatre in Lagos.
I just want to encourage you to support this endeavor. It not only shines light on your state, but it also shows the cosmopolitan nature of this state and creates incredible work. Bimbo said it creates about 35 different professions that come out of this, from you name it. All sorts of things come out of this. And our biggest challenge as a people, you know, is unemployment.
Government has attempted to do when we started was to look at all of the verticals of where can we directly intervene. We just didn't think about it. What were people saying? What were people telling us that time? And we drew up an economic agenda that saw clearly that entertainment, tourism, creative arts, the creative industry is a strong, important, cardinal economic objective of Lagos. Right. He was standing on the same pillar as we will resolve public transportation, on the same pillar I will resolve health and education, on the same pillar that we want to also resolve other life challenges, including security.
Governor Sanwo-Olu also announced his administration's plans to design various activities for the creative industry for the month of October to December.
Let's begin to see how we calendarize some of the programs, some of the thoughts, so that worldwide, as the people plan for a Formula One or they plan for the Cannes Festival, they begin to plan for a Lagos Theatre Festival, a Lagos Film Festival, a Lagos Art Festival. And we said to ourselves that from October into November and December, it really should be for the creative industry. And I want to assure you, like Bolanle had said, that next year, we'll make sure that the National Arts Theatre, Wole Soyinka Theatre as is being christened now, should be available as part of the venues.
The Lagos International Theatre Festival is scheduled to hold between November 14 and 17, 2024. Maugbe Josu, LTV News.
And that entertainment news wraps up the news at this hour. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Just before we go, a quick look at our major stories. World leaders have congratulated former President Donald Trump on his victory as the 47th President of the United States of America. President Bola Tinubu has postponed the Federal Executive Council meeting over the death of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, directs national flag to be flown at half-mast. Lagos medical experts have converged on Lagos at the 10th Biosecurity and One Health Conference to deliberate on strengthening Africa's capacity to address emerging global health. Nigeria's Oladile Kekere will be participating in the 2024 World Sambo Championships in Astana as the first blind athlete in Africa. For more news, connect with Lagos Television on these social media platforms. And our parting shot tonight: when life gives you 100 reasons to break down and cry, show life that you have 1,000 reasons to smile and laugh. Stay strong. Please remember to call Lagos toll-free lines 767 or 112 in case of emergencies. I am Joshua Murakinyo. Good night.